Well,
I mean, states can't. I mean, states are stuck between a rock and a hard place because they can't print money, obviously. So they have to get obvious. They either got to cut social services to the bone, or they got to find a way to raise revenues.
Well, raising the revenues, and that's another issue that I wanted to cover. Did you hear the ugly rumors, Bob, that Hillary Clinton, gosh, we had 26 years of the Bush-Clinton crime machine in Washington, D.C., and we still have it. Hillary Clinton, recently it was reported, and I want to get your take on this, Bob, in Beijing, China, where she was over there to broker a deal on any future borrowing that we might do from China by way of bonds, treasuries. And, there's a little caveat that was thrown in this. If the United States defaults on this, and we're talking trillions of dollars, that there's a little thing that the United States government will institute called eminent domain to pay the Chinese back with real estate. Have you heard anything on this, Bob?
Oh, yes. And it's possible, and it's probable. And who knows what sub rosa deals they made behind the scenes. But, John, American people are either going to continue to go downhill and live in their knees, or they're going to change the government. And if we change the government, we don't have to worry about those agreements. Just tell China to take a hike. If they don't like it, let them attack us.
Well, I did an hour on that yesterday. Of course, it's a lot deeper than the article that appeared today. Jerome Corsi wrote about it in WorldNet Daily. You have to go back to Wayne Hague, the Nevada rancher, who was in a 10-year battle with the Bureau of Land Management. And during the course of the trial with the Bureau of Land Management under discovery, Wayne Hague exposed the fact that with the breakdown of the Bretton Woods Agreement, foreigners did not want to accept U.S. dollars in exchange, and so the U.S. collateralized the mineral wealth of the western United States and pledged that as guarantors for all outstanding debts. It would not shock me or amaze me that that was the reason that Clinton went to China before she went to Israel. Think about the priorities there.
And then next stop, Syria.
Yeah. And considering the rhetoric that was going on between the United States and China leading up to that visit, I think Mr. Gertner made some statements about China manipulating its currency. There was obviously tensions. All of a sudden, those tensions between China and the U.S. subsided. So without being a full-blown conspiratorial theorist, I would imagine that her mission was not only to encourage China to continue buying U.S. treasuries, but also pledged vast tracts of western United States rich in mineral resources as collateral.
You got to put up something.
You got to put up something. And the fact is, the United States has done it before in a very similar circumstance after the breakdown of the Bretton Woods Agreement. I mean, it's almost a replay of the 60s and the 70s.
We'll take this break. Invite your calls at 800-313-9443. We're going through all the financial news that's fit to report. And folks, most of it's bad news and most of it's not fit to report. But that's our job. We'll be right back. And folks, the noise is already rumbling. People are starting to admit that, retirement funds might be in a little trouble. We might have to borrow maybe up to $1 trillion to bail out pension funds.
We heard this on this program 4 years ago.
Now they're...
A pension bomb is what it's called. And we called it, and we said the market was going to get down to 4,000 on the Dow, and of course at the time it was 14,000, and of course it's done that, unfortunately, and by breaking 7,000, and I think we're going to get down that low. If we do, 75-80% of the money in pension funds will be wiped out.
Well, and I'll give you an indication of what I said earlier on how they keep going back to this TARP and, oh gosh, what's an acronym here for the new bailout? Thank you, Robbie. They're still using and throwing around figures that have been drilled into people's heads. Here's a headline directly off of Bloomberg for you. Geithner says U.S. financial system rescue may cost more than $700 billion. Now, didn't we just say on this broadcast that the bankers and the Treasury have fired the printing presses up, printed out, this is not actual dollars, folks, but authorized debt of $12 to $13 trillion. Why am I still reading about $700 billion, Bob? What the hell do these people think we are, stupid?
That's an additional 700.
Oh, well, that's different. Now I feel better.
Listen, Chicago Transit Authority already announced that it's 62% underfunded. Largest pension fund on the East Coast.
Now does it start to make sense to people when you call them up and ask them questions about your 401, your retirement fund? Where is it being invested, and is it safe? Now you people understand why these brokers, why these deal makers would never give you direct answers, because they were out there playing craps with your money just like everybody else was. Now all of a sudden, everything is gone, so we have a little problem here, Houston. Yeah. It's only people's lives you're dealing with here. It's only after they've gone through so much taxation, usury, regulation, the basic standard brand of government BS that you think, you're hoping, after your life's toil, that you set aside a little nest egg to carry you through, the inevitable day, death. And you're feeling not super secure 100% because stuff can always happen. But now you're told that, your retirement funds, they're a little lacking. We're sorry. Folks, this is screwing with people's lives in areas that they should never, ever, ever, ever threaten.
John, up until 1986, there was no pension plan in the country that used common stocks. It was all bonds as one form or another. And as long as every company and the government didn't go under, people were going to get paid around 7%. And then in 86, they started going into the stock market, and I wrote an article about it at the time, and nobody paid any attention. I said it's going to end in disaster with the payout of 20 or 30 cents on the dollar, and look what's happened, exactly that.
We have a question, I think, for you, Bob. Howie in New Mexico. Hello, Howie. Howie, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi.
How you doing?
Not too bad. What's on your mind?
Well, Mr. Chapman said something. He said that black people was taking his job or something.
Bob,
Yes, in South Africa.
I'm sorry, sir. I thought you meant
in South Africa, all jobs are now given to black people, and even if they don't have any qualified black people, then they don't even give them to white people, and that's why all the white people, young ones, are leaving the country.
Yeah, Howie, they can't be African Americans if they're in Africa. They're African.
That's true, sir.
Yeah. Anything else, Howie?
Oh, no, that's it, sir.
Okay, point of clarification there. Appreciate your call. Don in Wisconsin. Hello, Don. No, Don. I'm sorry, Mike. Why isn't it on my screen? Hi, Mike. You're not on my screen, but you're in my ear. Go ahead.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Hi.
Oh, by the way, talking about the people's game, as Bob correctly refers to it, rather soccer
It's
than...
the beautiful game,
Oh,
Mike.
my God.
Thank you, Bob. Rather soccer than watching a bunch of guys standing around scratching their, this is a family show,
Private
on the
parts.
baseball diamond. Anyway.
Liverpool's still in first place.
You know, I have to admit, here in this country, when you make use of the term soccer moms, you're usually talking about housewives with SUVs driving vehicles around that they really don't need,